Kathiya, and today I was read one book. That book name is The Hard Thing About the Hard Things. That book is name is learning. So I will share with some learnings. Um, the situation was complex because 440 of our 450 employees worked in the cloud business, which represented all of our customers and generated so presents our revenue. I could not tell the employee or even my executive team that I was considered during the cloud business because our stock price would have collapsed to nothing, killing any hope of selling the company and avoiding bankruptcy. That one person I needed and cloud trust was John Offroll. John ran business of corporate development, but more than that, he was the greatest big deal person I had even know. The illustrate my point. It say you were a religion man, where speaking in the hypothetical and now, and let's say you had reached your end of days and you faced your maker for final judgment. Let's further suppose that as your fate was to be decided for all eternity, you were rented a single person to notate on your behalf. Who would you choose? Well, if is were me, I detect the Irish brother, John Offroll. I told John that he and I needed to execute an contingency plan, and we needed to get started immediately. And this would be a two-person project to start, and we needed everyone else focus on the task at hand, reducing loud cash burn. Next, I collect Bill Compable to explain why I thought we needed to exit the cloud business. Bill understand what is crisis located like since had been CEO of Go Corporation in the early 1990s. Essentially, Go had attempted to build an iPhone-like device in 1992 and it ended up being one of the largest venture capital losses in history. I took Bill thought my logic that only way out of the cloud business without going bankrupt was thought higher sales because even if we laid off 100% of the employees, the infrastructure cost would still kill us without a sharper sales rep. I further explained that the downloading cash balance displays customer confidence, which in turn hurt sales, which in turn caused the cash balance to decline further. He simply said spiral, and I knew that he understood. John and I mapped out the ecosystems to figure out which companies might be interested in acquiring the cloud business. Unfortunately, many of the respective buyers were in the dire state. Thamesler, Chain Telecoms, Quets, and WorldCom were employed in accounting fraud case, and Xdus had already gone bankrupt. We decided to focus on the three most likely buyers: IBM Cable and Wireless and EDS. IBM hosting business led by the congenial Jim Corgel. I immediately took a strong interest. Jim valued the Loud Cloud brand and our reputation for technological superiority. EDS, or on the other hand, showed no interest. This worried me intensely as I studied all the public feeling from both companies. It was clear to me that EDS needed loud for more than IBM did. Need always strong points in merger and acquisition. John said to me, Ben, I think we need to walk away from EDS so that we can focus on the higher probability target. I asked him to draw the EDS organizational card one more time to see if we cloud find someone imprudently and EDS whom we had not yet approached when he did. I asked, who is Jeff Kelly? John paused, then said, you know, we haven't gotten to Jeff, but he may be able to make this decision. Sure enough, Jeff, we interested. Now with two pointal bidders, we put things in motion. John and I worked hard to create energy with both IBM and EDS because time was against us. We hosted both companies in our facilities, sometimes with them pushing each other in the hallway as part of John well orchestrated sales technique. The final step was to set the timeline for the end game. John and I debated the best way to do this as the deadline that we planned to set were clearly artificial. I suggest that we stop by Los Angeles on our way to Plano, Texas, home of ADS, to get some advice from Michelle Ovid. Michel was one cloud board, but more important, he had formally been known by many observers as the most powerful man in Hollywood. When he was 28 years old, he started a talent agency, Creative Artist Agency (CAA), which grew to dominate the entertainment industry. CAA writes made Michel so infinitely that he cloud roundly structured deal that he never been done before. When we arrived in his office, the place buzzed with activity. Michel seemed to be engaged in a dozen different activities, but finally come out to meet with John and me. We explained the situation. We were racing agent time and had two bidders, but no specific uh, initiative to coax them toward the end of the process. Michel paused and thought for a moment and then deserved his advice. Gentlemen, I've done many deals in my lifetime and thought the process. I developed an methodology, a way of doing things, a philosophy, if you will. Within that philosophy, I have certain beliefs. I believe in artificial deadlines. I believe in planning of projects. I believe in doing everything and anything short the illogical or immoral to get the damned deal done. Michel had a way of making things extremely clear. We thanked him and headed to the airport. We called both ADS and IBM to let them know that we would complete to process our the next 8 weeks and sell the cloud business to someone if they wanted to play. They had to move on that schedule or withdraw immediately. The Michel Ovid's artificial deadline was in full effect. We knew that we might have to go past it, but Michel give us confidence that going past the deadline was a better move than not having one. After 7 weeks, we come to an agreement with EDS. They would buy Cloud for $63.5 million in cash, and we assume it's as associated liabilities and cash burn. We would retain in the included property of Zwar and become a software company. EDS would then license our software to run both Cloud and the larger EDS for $20 million per year. I thought it was a great deal for both EDS and us. It was certainly for better than bankruptcy. I fled 150 pounds later. I plowed take a deep breath for the first time in 18 months. 18 months still. It wouldn't be easy. Selling loud means selling about 150 employees to ADS and laying off another 140. I called Bill Campbell to tell him the good news. The deal was signed and we would be announcing it in New York one Monday. He replied, "To bed, you can't go to New York and be part of the." And he said, an announcement. You all have to send Mark. I said, what do you mean? He said, you need to stay home and make sure everybody knows where they stand. You can't wait a day. In fact, you can't wait a minute. They need to know whether they are working for you, idiots, or looking for a cooking job. Mm, Dumb, he was right. I sent Mark to New York and prepared to let people know where they stood. That small piece or advice will provide to be the foundation we needed to rebuild to, the company. If we had not traded the people who were living fairly, the people who stayed would never have trusted me again. Only only a CEO who had been thought some way away full, horrible, deserving circumstances would know to give that advice at the time. Chapter 2 finished and chapter 3 theme this time with feeling. I move onward. This only direction can't be spread to fail in search or of perfection on the two next one. Once the ADA sales we completed, I felt like the company was in good shape. But my shareholder did not agree. I had showed all my customers of all my revenue and the business. They understood every shareholder build out and the stock price full to 0.35 per dollar share with represent about half of the cash we had in the bank. I realized that nobody beside me how but things and become and nobody besides me believed in the future. So I decided to take the employees of side and resell them on the opportunity. I rented 40 rooms in a low-end motel in Santa Cruz and took our remaining 80 employees there for one night of drinking and one day of explaining the observer opportunity. And the end of the day, I tried to be as honest and humanly possible. You have now heard everything that I need and think about the opportunity in front of us. Will State does not believe. Observe he a good idea, but I do. I can understand if you don't. Since this is a brand new company and a brand new challenge, I am ensuring everyone new stock grant today. All that I ask if you have decided to quit that you quit today. I won't talk you out the door. You'll have you find a job. But we need to know where we stand. We needed to know who is with us and whom we can count on. We cannot afford to slow build out. You are aware if to your teammates to be honest. Let us now where you stand. That day to employees quite of the other 78 all but they said thought the sales to Hellet packet 5 years later after the off-side gathering. The first thing I had to do was interest to stock price. The NASA deck had sent me a cut letter saying that if we failed to get our stock price our dollar, they would delist up from the exchange and send us to the uh, purgatory now and penny stocks. The board debated the best way to do this. Reverse split the stock buyback or other points, but I felt we just needed to tell our story. The story was simple. We had a great time. We had a great team. $60 million in the bank, a $20 million a year contract with EDS and some series intellectual property. Unless I was the world CEO of all time, we should be worth more than $30 million. The story took hold and the stock climbed about $1 a share. Next, I had a ship a product. Observer had been built to run loud cloud and loud cloud only. It was not yet ready for the world. In fact, parts of the code were hardwired to physical machine in our building. Beyond that, the user interface was from ready for prime time. This component the New York was called the give and featured a purple time head on the front page. Project aside give a running start, but our engineer were nervous. They brought me a long list of features that they felt we needed to complete period to integrate the market. They pointed to competitor with more finished products. All is as I listened to their lengthy objection, it became clear to me that the future the engineers wanted to add all come from loud cloud requirement as painful as might be. I knew that we had get into the broader market in order to understand I will enough to build the writer product silly to only way to do they was to ship and try to sell the wrong product. We would fall on our face, but we would learn fast and do what was needed to survive. Finally, I had to rebuild the executive team. I had a CFO who didn't know software accounting, head of sales who had never sold software, and I had marketing who did not know our market. Every one of them was great their old jobs, but no qualified for their new jobs. I was miserable, but necessary to see them all go. The strength and the team come together and the business started working. We began singing customers at a consistent pace and our stock price rose from its $0.35 low to more than $7 a share. It felt like we were finally out of the woods. And naturally, I was wrong. 60 days to 5, a few quarters into observe, we received very bad news from our largest customer, EDS. Largest customer really understand its EDS accounted for 90% of our revenue, and they were not happy. Their observer deploying had 60 days to 5. A few quarters into observer, we received very bad news from our largest customer, EDS. Largest customer really understands its EDS accounted for 90% of our revenue, and they were not happy. Their observer deployment had stalled out and not met its goal as they had run into multiple difficult technical issues. EDS wanted to cancel the deployment and the contract and get their money back. Giving EDS their money back would mean the end of observer getting into a big debenture with a customer. Had accounted for all but 10% of our revenue would also mean that end of observer we were doomed again. I called my top two venture on the accounting in for a meeting. Jason Rosenthal was the very first employee I I had hired and the best manager in the company. I stand for the guarded with impeccable memory and genius mind for meaning all the detail for a complex project. Jason Ward was in large change of the EDS deployment. Anthony Wright grew up in the third part of Pittsburgh, the son of legendary street fighter Joe Wright, and had learned a black belt in several martial arts himself, self-made, super determined, uh, and unwilling to feel. Anthony has an announced ability to quietly grin deep insight into people's character and motivation, able to calm dogs of a meat truck. I have another guys on the team described it in Anthony was the relationship manager for ADS. I began with assessment what's happened. I turned out I lots of things. ADS event was intense and a chaotic. They and highlighted network and infrastructure from very customer they had ever signed and from every area in which they had signed them. They had a data center connected by 56 kilobit links at time when no other customer connected a speed even 20 times the slow. EDS run a version of operating system that were so old that they didn't support basic technology like threads, which means our software would don't run on them and the people were not our people. We'd find them sleeping in the data center at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. They were not motivated and generally not very happy. Beyond that, our product was far from perfect and every one of the many big bugs and short things was a reason to stop the deployment. I took a long pause to bed my head and then began to give in structure in